Good afternoon, everybody. I'm happy to see all the lovely ladies of IFSA. Under the member enrichment program, I have been listening to the well-researched presentations by our IFSA members, and I'm very much impressed by the depth of knowledge they have in their respective fields. These are truly enriching experiences for me. I look forward to many more talks in the future. Today, I would like to share with you some slides from a wonderful show that I attended in 2010. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. When I was planning my trip to UK, my dear friend Vijaya Chakravarti suggested that I should visit London in the month of May when the Chelsea Flower Show is on. So I booked my tickets 4 months in advance and I visited the show. And let me tell you, it changed my perspective about garden designing, about horticulture. So with the help of my camera picture and some borrowed images from the net, I have prepared my presentation. Chelsea Flower Show is the most popular, most spectacular, and most awaited horticultural show in the world. It is organized by Royal Horticultural Society of UK, and it is held on the ground of Royal Hospital at Chelsea, which is a suburb of London. Every year, it is held during the last week of May. Before proceeding to Chelsea, let me brief you on the Royal Horticultural Society, or RHS in short. RHS is a charity committed to helping and inspiring gardeners at all levels. It supports gardeners by sharing knowledge and expertise. It firmly believes that gardeners make the world a better place to live. Now, I will briefly explain to you the functions of RHS. RHS is actively involved in scientific research into plants, their cultivation, their identification, and pest and disease control. It provides authoritative knowledge, authoritative gardening and horticultural advice to gardeners. RHS provides formal and informal learning opportunities to future generations through events and trainings. The most popular activity of RHS is the garden shows that are held. As I told you, Chelsea Flower Show is the most popular show held in the month of May. Then comes Hampton Court Flower Show, which is even bigger than Chelsea's show in size. But in popularity, nothing beats Chelsea. Hampton Court Flower Show takes place on the huge grounds of Hampton Court Palace. It is held in the first week of July. I visited this show in year 2011, and I remember my feet ached after covering the entire palace grounds at least 2 to 3 times. Then comes Stratton Park Show, which is held in the last week of July. Then there are regional and seasonal shows in Cardiff, at Society's Hall in London, and at Wisley Garden. The entire summer and early autumn is the busy season for RHS shows. Well, if you are not present during the show time, no problem. You can always visit some RHS gardens that are located at Harlow-Carr in North Yorkshire, Hyde Hall in Essex, Rosemoor in Devon, and Wisley in Surrey. I had a chance to visit Wisley Garden in year 2012. It is a vast garden, about 200 acres in size and beautifully maintained by RHS. You can spend an entire day studying and enjoying different sections of the garden, including glows, rooftop garden, etc. Urban and rural communities and neighborhoods are involved in serious gardening in UK. Books published by RHS, online content, and journals reach millions of people, which help them develop gardening skills. RHS depends on membership contribution to grow and sustain. Now I will come back to Chelsea Flower Show. This show has a history of over 100 years and it is as popular as ever. I will present some interesting points which made Chelsea Flower Show what it is today. We have always known that England has an impressive history of gardens dating back some 400 years. 83% of homes in England have outdoor spaces. Geographically, England has one climatic zone, and that is temperate zone, with just enough amount of sunshine, warmth, and water to support growth and flowering of temperate zone species. No wonder that England is on top in garden tourism. Chelsea is the natural outcome of the garden tradition. Over the years, Chelsea Flower Show has evolved into a success story. Now, Chelsea has become a symbol of creativity, excellence, and new ideas in designing and living. Now, I will briefly explain the layout of the showground. In this map, the bigger dark green color patch is the Great Pavilion, about 2.9 acres in area, or you can say 500 London buses can be accommodated in this Great Pavilion. It houses beautiful collection and display of flowers and plants. There are some art installations also. Around the pavilion, some 30 show gardens are made. There are different kinds of show gardens like urban garden, courtyard garden, generation gardens, and artisan gardens. Then beside these gardens, there is a large wooded area with nicely manicured lawns meant for recreation, food court, hospitality, and live music. Chelsea Flower Show Week coincides with the busy tourist season in London. The show attracts visitors from across the globe. One can reach this venue by public transport. There are some free bus shuttle services available from nearby metro stations. The show opens at 8 and closes at 5. Out of 5 days of duration, first 2 days are meant for RHS members and the rest for general visitors. The show gets completely sold out and it is impossible to get entry if you do not plan in advance. Now, let us concentrate on show gardens. These gardens are huge gardens made specially for show purpose. I will tell you some interesting facts about these show gardens. Some of these gardens have sizes of about 200 square meters. The biggest garden ever built at Chelsea is 600 square meter. You can imagine the size. You don't get to see them here in Bombay at all. Each show garden designer has to submit final drawing along with details of the list of planting well in advance to the RHS committee. And it is included in the catalogue published before the show opens. The designer and his team plan years in advance. Actual making of the show garden on the ground is completed in 19 to 21 days. Intense activities and teamwork that look like a massive construction site turns into finished reality. These show gardens bring drama, glamour, and fashion to the show. You can easily spot celebrities admiring these gardens. Judges, media people, and visitors scrutinize every inch, every concept of the garden, and they opine differently. It takes 5 days of dismantling the garden, but the designs and ideas remain with the visitors forever. In fact, some of these designs are often purchased and are relocated by wealthy people in their own properties, while others are free to copy them according to their capabilities. Sometimes these gardens are also donated to NGOs across UK. Now let me tell you some facts and figures of RHS as an organizing body of Chelsea Flower Show. It is a fully sponsored show. Even the individual show gardens are sponsored by big corporates. Installation of the show gardens is a costly affair. It runs into several lakhs of pounds in budget. 130 staff members are involved in planning the show. 30 garden designers create spectacular designs. 1,200 contractors are engaged on the ground. 3,000 catering staff to feed everybody. 500 security people keep the place under control from safety point of view. 250 volunteers do excellent job to put up a great show and manage 16 lakh visitors over 5 days of duration. 16 judges and 2 moderators have to face a difficult task of choosing from best, very best, and outstanding garden designs. There are 4 grades in awards: gold, silver gilt, silver, and bronze. The manager of the show walks almost 15 kilometers per day during the show time. These facts and figures will give you the idea of its gigantic nature. Now I will show you some pictures of the show gardens that I visited in year 2010. Then there are some more pictures from 2011 to 2019, which I have borrowed from the net. The very first garden that I covered was English Countryside Garden. The designer was Roger Platts, and sponsor of this garden, as well as for the entire show, was M&G Investments. This garden has strong, well-crafted structures, paved big brick pathways leading under pergolas, covered with rambling roses. This pathway meets Oak Summer House, and that you will see in the next slide. The sandstone edge circular pool in the front of the summer house is surrounded by roses, boxwood topiaries, foxgloves, salvias, lavenders, and grasses. This garden is the award-winning. This was sponsored by the Daily Telegraph, which is a newspaper in London. Andy Sturgeon, the designer of this garden, is inspired by his travels. He has incorporated flavors from Southern Cape, shrubs from Mediterranean. Any problem? I can hear some noise. Hello, Suparna?
Carry on.
No, ma'am, please continue. Please continue.
Okay.
Look into it.
Okay.
Please
Thank
continue.
you. Thank you. Andy Sturgeon, the designer of this garden, is inspired by his travels. He has incorporated members of the from Mediterranean, chaparrals from California, and matorrals from central Chile. The steel screens slice through the design, fusing architectural and sculptural qualities to the entire space. This is the same garden viewed from different angle. These gardens look like they exist in the same location for years together. You don't believe that they are made just for the show. They look well matured and well nurtured in that very location. This is LAURENT-PERRIER garden, well-known British designer, architect. Tom Stuart Smith specializes in making gardens that combine naturalism and modernity. The centerpiece is an elegant-looking bronze pavilion overlooking an elongated pool that you will see in the next slide. Yeah. There is an informal natural woodland style of planting on two sides along the path surrounding the pool, while the other has boxwood topiaries which bring modernity to the design. He has used river birch trees, wildflowers, euphorbias, and grasses. This Japanese garden is created by Kazuyuki Ishihara, who is referred as garden magician of RHS. He has won 11 golds in RHS shows. This garden was awarded gold for Artisan Garden category in 2018. Artisan gardens are smaller in size, but they are no less spectacular. Japanese gardens are not complete without Acer plants. In this garden, red and light green color Acer leaves bring vibrant color to the landscape. The presence of natural stones and rocks in this garden is softened by soft pincushion mosses planted in groups. You will see them planted in the niches between the rocks. Flowing water with irises bring magical effect to the design. This Morgan Stanley garden design was designed by Chris Beardshaw. He has drawn inspiration from interrelation between music, nature, and geometry. Well, these are not my words, but every designer has to write what inspires him or her to make that particular design. Here in this garden, you can see open-air performance structure with unconventional lines and shapes, creating geometrical pattern, which is also repeated in the topiaries standing next to the structure on both the sides. All these four pictures belong to the same Morgan Stanley garden. All these show gardens can be viewed from 2 to 3 sides to get better understanding of the design. To take photos without people peeping into the frame is a difficult task. So much is the involvement of the visitors. I have often observed that purple, white, and green is a favorite combination of colors preferred while choosing the plants and flowers for the show gardens. Boxwood topiaries are also picked up by horticulturists to bring that modern sculpted look to the garden. Among the flowers, foxgloves, lupins, salvias, and big spring wildflowers are every designer's favorite. This eco-city garden of 2018 aims to reduce pollution through selective use of trees and plants to bring better living conditions to urban life. Here, indoor and outdoor spaces have merged to give soothing effect to the eyes. There is a sunken patio with built-in sitting surrounded by boxwood hedging. Stone steps alternating with grass strips lead up to the open kitchen. Looks like a perfect place to chill out in summer. Yellow and white foxglove flowers match with the colors of cushion covers. Some eyebrows were raised by critics for this garden because there was a clear shift from focus on horticulture to emphasis on decor. But sometimes the designer goes out of his comfort zone to create something extraordinary. And this garden was indeed extraordinary. And it was well appreciated by everybody except a few critics. And ultimately, it won Silver Gilt Award for Urban Garden category in 2018. The royal family has been an integral part of Chelsea Flower Show. Very often, Queen has inaugurated the Chelsea shows. In year 2019, Kate Middleton debuted her entry into garden designing along with the leading designers, and it created a lot of interest in the media. She made a garden called Back to Nature. The whole family is seen enjoying gardening here. In 2018, the first ever India-inspired garden was created. To celebrate British Council's 70 years in India, British Council, in partnership with Piramal Group and supported by TCS, JSW, and Dr. Geeta Piramal, engaged a well-known designer, Sarah Eberl, to create a garden called India, A Billion Dreams. She was inspired by a film on Sachin Tendulkar called Sachin, A Billion Dreams. The designer explained that Sachin's journey is a metaphor for the hopes and dreams of young people in India. The flowers chosen in the design have great significance in Indian gardens. The rose is the flower of the Mughals. The color of the rare blue Himalayan poppy match with the color of Indian cricket team. Blue Vanda orchids come from Khasi Hills. Marigold is used in all Indian festivals. Sacred a lotus is favorite for gods in India. Unfortunately, I couldn't spot a single lotus in these pictures, but I'm sure there must have been at least one over there. The layout of this garden represents Mughal courtyards. Marble work reminds us of Taj Mahal, and the giant cricket stumps act as columns which define the garden theme. This garden won Silver Gilt Medal for Artisan Garden category. Mark Gregory has designed this garden. It is called Welcome to Yorkshire. This garden was People's Choice Award. This garden won People's Choice Award in 2018. The designer was inspired by stunning Yorkshire Dales. In fact, he literally has created a slice out of Yorkshire by making dry stone walls, a stone bothy, a vegetable garden, and woodland style of planting. There is a fast flowing stream, which you will see in the next slide. There is a beautiful wisteria vine resting on the pillar beside a sit out. The total effect is picturesque and stunning. This year, like most of the other public events, Chelsea Flower Show turned virtual show. Many interesting programs were held and they were broadcasted by BBC during Chelsea Week. One of them was a Garden of the Decade competition. This garden was the recipient of this prestigious Garden of the Decade award. Well, you may or may not agree with the judgment because disappointments and controversy about winning gardens is also a part of Chelsea Flower Show. But one thing is sure, that these show gardens are the star attractions of the Chelsea Flower Show. In the beginning, I had told you that the designer has to submit the final drawings before the show begins. These are the samples of garden sketches, which will give you fairly good idea of how the garden will actually shape up on the ground. The finished garden is expected to look as close to the original drawing as possible. The judging criteria depends on originality, overall impression, construction, and actual planting. This slide will tell you about the interest level of the visitors. Each garden is minutely studied, admired, and loved by the visitors. It is not the award, but the admiration by media, visitors, and fellow designers, which is coveted by garden designers. And if they get a medal, then it is the biggest endorsement of their excellence. Now we leave the outdoor section and move inside the Great Pavilion. It houses awe-inspiring floral displays from leading nurseries and growers around the world. You will also find continuous learning section and garden advice desk. You can see the Queen stepping out after enjoying the fabulous collection of flowers. The other three pictures represent different styles of floral displays. As you enter the pavilion, you inhale mixed sweet fragrance of flowers and visually experience riot of colors. Alliums, agapanthus, tulips, orchids, chrysanthemums, lilies, clematis, roses, daffodils, and hundreds of exotics and rare flowers are beautifully and artistically displayed in the Great Pavilion. Now I will take you through some favorite flowers displayed every year at the Great Pavilion. And the first among this list is allium. Alliums are everybody's favorite. They are architectural plants and flowers. Their displays are widely photographed. Wormenhof family from Netherlands has been growing alliums for generations, and they are the leading suppliers of alliums for all RHS shows. These are colorful calla lilies. good for cut flowers. They are available all the year around. We don't get to see them in India except for a few hill stations in India. I have seen them in Ooty and Kodaikanal in the south. Every year, chrysanthemum arrive in large numbers at Chelsea. Each year, their display is unique and novel. Monotony of display is strictly avoided at Chelsea Flower Show. These are lupins. Lupins come in a variety of colors. They are on the list of plants on almost all the show gardens because their blooming coincides with the show dates and their supply is guaranteed. Like alliums, they are also architectural plants. Comparing to the clematis available in tropics, these clematis are exceptionally big and colorful. They are even bigger than the leaves. Here in tropics, you get tiny, white, very fragrant clematis. Climbing clematis, wisterias, and roses are used to cover trellises and patios. Well, all of us are familiar with these liliums. You can find them in almost all the roadside florists also. These are peonies. They are very colorful, somewhat like roses, but are prettier than roses. At one of the Chelsea shows, a nude model walked with painted peonies all over her body and fresh flowers as headgear. That must have been quite a show inside that big showplace. The next slide shows ornamental grasses. They have great aesthetic value. Grasses are hardy and survive better in colder temperatures. Grasses bring linear form, texture, color, motion, and sound to the garden. They are much in demand at Chelsea Gardens as well as all other gardens in the world. These are carnivorous plants. They're very fascinating. Hampshire Carnivorous Plant Nursery has been exhibiting these exotics for last several years, and they have won over 100 golds in all RHS shows. These plants are colorful and are designed to attract and trap insects, and then they digest the prey and absorb the nutrients. These are hacheras. They're very pretty ground covering plants. We do not find them in India, although they look much similar to coleus or begonias, minus their dainty spikes. Their foliage is equally attractive. Tiny flowers of hacheras grow on long stalks high above their foliage. They are very easy to grow and low in maintenance. They are suitable for covering small gardens or can be used as pillars in any garden. Originally from Himalayas, these rhododendrons have spread throughout UK. Colorful display of rhododendrons is a sight to behold. Now I show you some slides, slides of floral art displayed at Great Pavilion. In the year 2018, a cooperative of UK's artisan cut flower growers came together to make floral art, which they called Going to Market. This installation of horse-drawn cart laden with flowers obtained from 94 growers from length and breadth of UK, contributed 14,000 stems of flowers for this particular exhibit. This is the best example of community strength in gardening. The tree house on the right of this slide was installed in the Back to Nature garden in 2019. This was created to build natural playscapes where modern children can experience wonders of nature while having playful adventures. This treehouse was made using 200-year-old fallen oak tree. Then there are innumerable floral arrangements made by using flowers and other natural elements. For the Queen's 90th birthday year, the floral artist created hollow floral mural that you can see left. The is using of it. Natural elements. You can see that on the right. This huge floral display was done by a team from Kirstenbosch Botanical Garden Park of South Africa. It was awarded gold for floral display in 2019. This creation is called Mountain of Abundance. The Table Mountains of South Africa alone have more plant species than United Kingdom has in its entirety. It is delightful experience for photographers at Chelsea Flower Show. Professionals as well as amateur photographers have plenty of scope to choose from best designs, best actions, best angles, capturing color, shapes, and stunning visuals at Chelsea. By the way, today is the World Photography Day, and you're watching some photographs that I have clicked at Chelsea Flower Show. Whichever exhibition people visit anywhere in the world, shopping is a favorite activity. Chelsea has plenty of commercial stalls offering everything required for gardening activity. So it is a comprehensive shopping experience for gardeners at Chelsea. Well, to organize a show of this proportion, RHS has been working very hard to keep up with the traditions set by themselves over last 100 years. At the same time, they are working towards managing the show in an environmentally responsible and sustainable way. They have adopted responsible practices like ethical sourcing of natural resources and flowers, using recycled material and relocating the show gardens, etc. Now I will present two short films on Chelsea Flower Show. The first one will give you a peep into the inside of the Great Pavilion. The second one is about highlights of the Chelsea Flower Show of 2018. Enjoy the visuals. Please ignore the music accompanying the first film. It is not appropriate for the beautiful visuals.
I understand how you feel. See, it's all very clear to me now. The whole thing. It's wonderful.
Is it very loud?
No, we can't hear it.
You can't hear?
No, Manik.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay?
बहुत low रखो Manik. Yeah.
Okay. Tell me if the music is too loud.
No, the music can't be heard.
Oh.
But I think it's okay. Slightly you can hear it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we can hear the music.
Okay. Thank you. Now the second film about the highlights of Chelsea Flower Show 2018. Well, in the end, I have a small piece of advice to whoever wants to visit Chelsea Flower Show. Please do not visit Chelsea Flower Show alone. Go with someone with whom you can share all the excitement. Thank you for patiently watching through this. And thanks, Vijaya, for encouraging me and supporting me. Thank you.
You walked me down the memory lane.